In Darlington, we have an opportunity for a green recovery in transport terms. We are very lucky. We have a train station on the East Coast Main Line. We have a very dense urban core. Everywhere within the urban centre of Darlington, you can cycle into town within 15 minutes. This gives us an opportunity to invest in transport solutions that suit everyone.
Now, what we saw in the post-war era was that transport policy was geared towards helping move the traffic around. Roads were built through perfectly viable residential areas. You ended up with situations like you've got here, where you've got a ring road that kind of separates the town centre from the rest of the town. And it led to more car dependency, to situations where people found it hard to live their lives unless they got a car.
We have got very good bus route access in Darlington, but there are still many areas of Darlington that are not accessible by bus in the evenings, aren't even accessible every day of the week.
And also, bus fares have gone up 38% in the last 10 years, far outstripping inflation or wage growth. And at the same time, we're pouring millions of pounds into subsidising car transport. So those people who already have the wealth to own a car are getting more money spent on them, whereas those who rely on cycling or walking or using the bus are getting the poor end of the deal. It's not a fair deal for them. Car ownership comes at a cost. And for the very poorest in society, this can absorb a fifth, a quarter of your capital.
It was thought that people would go into the town centre no matter what, but what we've found out in subsequent years is that people don't necessarily go to the town centre if they don't have to. They can buy things online, and that's obviously been more and more prevalent over COVID. So how do we help our town centres recover? Well, I don't think it can be done just by making it easier and easier for people to drive in. You can't make a historic town centre all that car accessible. There simply isn't enough space to provide enough parking for all the people that would need to shop in a shop to make it financially viable. But there's another way of doing it. Transport for London have shown that each pound spent on better cycling and walking yields something like £13 in benefits to the community. There's more footfall, there's people kind of visiting local shops because it's easy, rather than getting in their cars and going out to a supermarket.
I would like to see Darlington learn the lessons of other parts of the world that look very similar to us, but maybe 30, 40 years ago took a different path. Just across the North Sea in the Netherlands, where in Groningen, brave, bold, principled politicians made a decision to change the way people travel, and they provided people-centred travel options, and there we're now seeing 40 to 50% of travel by bike, and there they have an accessible travel network. A lot of people don't realise there are more people with a disability who can cycle than people with a disability who can drive. So actually, car use isn't necessarily the solution for everyone.
Free bus passes would liberate many people to be able to get around much more quickly. We've seen in the pandemic that healthcare workers particularly rely on public transport to get around. A massive part of Darlington's heritage is our involvement in the creation of the passenger railway. The Industrial Revolution may have caused a lot of the climate problems, and that may have been largely due to the steam train, but the passenger locomotive, which was largely influenced by people in Darlington, is actually going to move us away from those unsustainable technologies.
And so a sustainable, fair transition to a travel system that prioritises the right choices of walking, cycle and bus use is within our reach. We can do that, and the cost of not doing that is massive. Building roads costs millions upon millions of pounds. We can't build our way out of congestion. There just isn't room, but we can build a fair transport system for all in Darlington.